You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello, my name is Nancy Solari, and it's the Living Full Out Show, and today we are going to be talking about competing with others. So, with so much social media and seeing what other people are doing and wishing you had what they had, or you want to be further along and you want to be where they are, it can sometimes drive us just nutty to know that we're not able to escalate and get to where we want to go in a timely manner when we're competing with others. So today we want to figure out where in your life you are feeling as though you're coming up short, or are you? Because here's the thing, everybody's journey is different. So where you might feel like you're a little short or less than a friend in one area of your life, you might be thriving or surpassing them in another area. So I want to make sure that you call in at 800-333-0001 if you have questions about that. Also, in our next segment, we're going to be joined by Abby Curran. She is amazing, born with cerebral palsy. She didn't let that stop her. She went on to be Miss Iowa, but there's a lot of tender stories in there where she really had to figure out how not to compete with other people, but hone her skills and be an original. So you want to stay tuned for that. And if you want to hear today's show again, feel free to reach out to us by going to the livingfullout.com website, or go to your app stores and Alexa and look for Living Full Out Radio. And you can hear us anytime, even when it's not the live show. So we are getting word for our producer that we have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hi, thank you for calling.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. How can we help you today?
So I'm hearing back from colleges really soon, and I was just wondering how I can deal with this disappointment and anxiety.
So you're applying for college?
No, so I'm hearing back from them really soon.
So you're hearing back.
Deal with the rejection or like the acceptance.
Well, so the good news is you might get accepted, right? And then you don't have to worry about the rejection. So right now you're kind of in the standstill, right? The waiting game is never fun, right? But you want to stay really positive. Yeah, it does. But you want to stay positive. So you can't make it happen faster. However, what you might consider doing is, did they give you a deadline, like a drop date, like you should know by this time, or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll hear in a couple of days.
In a couple of days, okay. So until then, I don't want you to be wallowing, biting your nails and, eating the wrong foods, right? Take this time to still be preparing. It's almost like acting as if you've already been accepted. It's called the as if factor, okay? So I want you to go through the next couple of days as if you've already been accepted to your dream school, okay? And by doing that, number one, you're going to calm your anxieties. But number two, when you do get that acceptance letter, it's kind of game on, right? There's actually a lot of planning that goes into preparing for a transition to school. And maybe that's even moving out and finding roommates and planning your classes. So I would look at this as, precious time where you can kind of tie up responsibilities that you have now, or maybe even do things that bring you joy. Like, I love karaoke. I love hanging out with my service dog, Lionel, right? So rather than letting the dun-dun-dun-duns, right, the drama of waiting carry over you, just have fun. Because otherwise you're going to look back at the last couple of days and go, oh my gosh, I wasted so much time because here's my acceptance letter in my hand. Now, if you don't get accepted, don't think it's the end of the world, because plenty of people have applied and reapplied. And I think you kind of have to trust in the process. The school that accepts you is the one you're meant to go to. Okay, can you do that for me?
Yeah.
All right,
yes,
hang in there.
So much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for calling in.
You as well. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. I love that she asked in about that question, right? Because that is a really competitive time when you know that all these universities are getting all these applications and you really want them to choose you. I feel her, but you know what? I'm getting some good energy that it's going to work out for her. So we'll send positive wishes her way. Now I'm getting word from our producer that we have another caller on the line. We'll say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy. My name's Samantha.
Hi, Samantha. Thank you for calling in. How can we help you?
I kind of wanted to talk about a problem that I had. I usually prioritize hanging out with friends, going.
Samantha, for some reason your phone's going in and out. I can barely hear you.
Oh. Hello?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay. You want me to
What
repeat
is your
my question?
Yeah, because I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Okay.
Yes, give it to me one more time. Yep.
Okay. I've just been noticing that I've been having a lot of trouble prioritizing things. For example, it's been negatively affecting my classwork especially. I usually tend to go out a lot, pick up a lot of extra shifts at work, or just hang out with friends instead of just sitting down and studying for my classes. So I kind of wanted to know how to break out of this habit.
Well, here's what I want you to do, okay? And the advice I'm going to give you is one that will actually carry through your entire life, okay? Consider in your mind that you have folders of memories and emotional memories in your mind. So whenever you encounter something, like if we've ever failed, right? If we failed or we made a mistake or we made an error, that guilty feeling or that, why did I do that, right? We always say to ourselves, I'm never going to do that again. It's one thing to say it, but you want to timestamp that feeling in your mind and put it in your emotional folder in your brain, okay? So for example, have you procrastinated before and got to that 11th hour, 12th hour, and you're like, oh, this is going to be the worst. It's going to be the worst. And you just stressed out beyond belief, right?
Yes. Yes.
And that is so unhealthy. Unhealthy for your mind, your heart, your skin, right? We do all sorts of sabotage behaviors during that time. So you want to take that moment when you're beating yourself up, pause and say, okay, this is one of those emotional memories that Nancy wants me to file. I don't want to wait till the 12th hour, the 11th hour, because I don't like the way I feel. And you know what? Rome wasn't built in a day, so it doesn't mean you're going to be prepared at, a day earlier, but maybe you're prepared 5 hours earlier. Go small steps. And then have you ever procrastinated where it was a ripple effect and it actually impacted other people?
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Okay. And how awful is that feeling, right? When they're looking at you, they're upset, they're emotionally triggered themselves. You're the one that dropped the ball, right? Again, snapshot, like you're taking a picture with your camera, but it's your emotions. Put it in your mind. So when these deadlines start coming up, and let's say it's a group deadline, you want to pull out of your mind how you felt that last time you let your group down. And you'll go, no, I am not doing that again. Okay, I'm going to put things in place, my own deadlines. I'm going to fake myself out, even though it's due on X date. I'm going to make it due the day before just to get it done. Do you see how there's power in that?
Yeah.
Okay. And those are emotional memories just around procrastinating, but you can do that for anything. A breakup, anytime that you're stressed out, anytime that, you feel lonely, anytime that you're just overwhelmed or out of balance. They're all emotional memories that you want to package away. And that will, as you grow and you mature, and even as you take on more responsibilities, like with your career or relationships, the ante gets up. Right? And so you have to have those emotional memories to kind of keep you in line. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know it's not exciting. I know. It's work. I know.
Yeah, I do notice that, though, that I just feel super guilty when I mess up on things. But when I actually do things right, it's the greatest feeling ever.
Okay, and that's an emotional memory, right? So even when you just said those words, the greatest feeling ever, I bet your body felt more alive, more happy. So that's an emotional memory that you want to feel. But thank you so much for calling in, and we'll be wishing you the best. Go out there, meet your deadlines.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Thank you. And for everybody listening today, it is about not competing with others, finding a way to stand out of the crowd, but just be authentically you. Stay with us. We'll be coming right back after this break with Abby Curran, who's going to be telling her story of growing up with cerebral palsy. However, she went on to become Miss Iowa, even with that disability. She is a great example of what it means to live full out. So I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, professional skateboarder Tony Hawk here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have the energy to skate through anything.
Nice play on words, Doc.
That's how I roll, Bugs. So whether you like to work the half pipe,
now that's catching air,
kick the soccer ball around, or dance in your room,
just move it your way.
For an hour a day.
The way you like to move, as long as you're moving.
Carve out some time every day and get active. Because it's time to do a 180 on what you think exercise is.
Because it can be whatever you want it to be. So be a player.
Be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At www.letsmove.gov. Let's hear that one more time, Doc. That's www.letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. At 7 I shower. Every day I wake up
For
at
those
5.
caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I'm Sarah, and this is my story.
I'm Ellen, and this is my story.
One night, I was at a bar.
I
was having fun with my friends.
I
had one too many drinks.
I
got behind the wheel to go home.
I got a cab to go home.
All of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road. It happened so quickly, I barely had time to react.
The cabbie barely had time to react.
I swerved.
The cab swerved.
I can't believe it. I hit a guy.
I cannot believe it. The cabbie just missed a guy.
I wish I took a cab.
Thank goodness I took a cab.
You have the choice to save a life. Don't drive buzzed. It's a decision you'll never regret. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you think depression is all in a person's head, you're right. It's a brain illness. And like other illnesses, it has symptoms. Depression can make those who suffer from it feel hopeless. It can even lead to suicide. Learn how to stop depression from taking another life. Call SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, 1-888-511-SAVE, on the web at save.org.
I'm Alec Baldwin. Like any parent, I'm concerned about children's health. Many kids don't eat as they should and are at risk for long-term health problems like diabetes and heart disease. But here's good news. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and other low-fat vegetarian foods can protect our kids and keep the rest of the family healthy too. For a free booklet, call the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine at 1-877-685-KIDS or visit www.kidsgethealthy.org.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about competing with others. But I encourage you to put that competition aside and really look at, how are you unique? How are you special in this world? And, what strengths do you have that you can contribute to your family, your friends, to group projects, just to your overall company and life that makes this journey more rich and it's a signature to only something you can do. Now, our inspirational guest today, Abby Curran, is really such a lovely person. She has a vibrant personality, and she was actually born with cerebral palsy. But you wouldn't know it. I mean, this go-getter has, kind of never looked back. She went ahead and achieved many, many dreams, including becoming Miss Iowa. So we're going to learn how she did that. So I'd like to welcome Abby to the show.
Hi, Nancy.
Hello, Abby.
How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Happy to have you. Part of our goal on this show is to tell stories and inspire our audience, and yours is definitely one of those. But before we get started, can you share with our audience what cerebral palsy is and just how that affects one's body?
Yeah, I actually have mild cerebral palsy. I know that it varies. Cerebral palsy varies from person to person. Some have severe, some have mild. And, I'm very blessed to have mild. So for me, it just affects my legs. The muscles in my legs are really tight. So my gait is a little different. Sometimes I lose my balance, but I like to think that 90% of the time I don't. So, it just affects how I walk, the way I walk, and kind of what it looks like to others. It might look harder than it actually is.
Got it. And it's just different, and everybody has a different case. Like yours is more mild and someone else may be more severe, or it may affect their speech or other parts of the way they function. And for short, they call it CP, right? So we can call it that throughout the show as well. Now, when you were early in your, let's say elementary years, I know one of your first moments where having CP really kind of got to you was when you had braces. And you had to walk down this quiet hallway. Can you share with us, first of all, why you had braces, but also share with us about that moment?
Yes, of course. So I was in braces because it actually, especially when you're growing, they try to position your feet the way that people without CP, their feet are positioned. So hopefully as you grow, you kind of are growing like everyone else instead of, my feet turn in a little bit, and we wanted to prevent that as much as possible. So I was put in braces up to my knees, and, there are these hot plastic braces that kind of force your foot to be flat. And so I had to wear, big flat shoes and I went to this private Catholic grade school that had one long hallway, and on one side was like all of the even numbers of classrooms, and on the other side was all the odd numbers. So they would leave the doors open a lot of times, and if I had to go down the hallway for anything, whether it be the drinking fountain in a bathroom, you get called to the office to grab like a paper or a flyer or something. Teachers and occasionally students would, stop class, or they'd peek their head out the door and be like, "Here comes Abby," because you'd hear like the thump, 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 thump as I'm walking down the hallway. So as funny as it was also secretly very embarrassing. And darn it, I could never sneak up on anybody. So,
well, you know what? Those embarrassing moments are really hard to get through when we're that age, but just sharing that story, I was so with you. I was hanging on your every word because I could feel that moment and just how embarrassing it probably felt. But at the same time, you were just doing what you had to do, and even when you were in high school, that same vigor, that same determination was there when your muscles did start to give out. I know that, it was becoming harder for you to stand. And in fact, there was kind of a tricky way that you got to class. Can you share with us about how your condition developed and kind of that moment for you?
Absolutely. So, I'm sure even with people without disabilities, we all have days and times where, we have a sore muscle or somehow we get hurt. And for some reason, I had hurt a muscle in my thigh. And so when I had put weight on it, my leg would completely give out. And so, the doctor was like, there's nothing really wrong. You must have strained something. Just be careful. Try to keep weight off of it. Do you want a wheelchair? Absolutely not. Do you want crutches? Well, I already have a bit of a balanced situation going on. So crutches for me, I think that requires way too much coordination for me to figure out how to not fall over and use those. And so what happened was I would just try to go to high school. High school is pretty big. So I'd try to go to high school and just walk. And all of a sudden I'd end up dropping to the floor. And so I learned that if I waited for the bell to ring, everyone would get in their classroom. And then I could get on my hands and knees and crawl to the classroom door as fast as I could and then stand up and walk in. And I didn't see any problem in that. My friends that knew about it didn't see any problem in that. But I'm pretty sure my parents got a phone call and I got called to the office as to, what are you doing? And, I was like, I want to be independent. This isn't hurting me. This is super fast. It's more efficient. Just give me 2 minutes and I'll crawl to the classroom door, stand up, walk in, and then I don't have to worry about figuring out crutches would have taken forever. I don't need someone to help me by pushing a wheelchair. I just needed to crawl.
And how much did it mean to you over the years as a child for your parents not to shelter you, to let you find your own way of dealing with it?
You know what? I tease my parents to this day because you see a lot of parents that really, shelter their kids, especially with having a challenge or a disability. And, my mom is someone that I trip over her rugs at her house many, many times. And she does not get rid of the rugs. She says, pick up your feet. So my parents were kind of tough, but I'm really glad they were because I think they made me much more independent and smarter as to, use my resources and what can I do? I'm not going to, sit on that floor in high school and cry and think, oh gosh, I'm hurting. I can't get to class. I'm like, hey, I've got to figure out how I'm going to get to class. And how am I going to do it without anyone helping me?
Yeah, and I love that your attitude is such, because I think sometimes we're allowed to have the pity party. I think it's sometimes it's valid to be concerned. You got to feel that emotion. But at the same time, snap, you got to get to class, right? I mean, there's just taking care of business. So I respect that. Now, I'd like you to stay with us, Abby, because there's obviously so much more to your story. But thank you for starting the dialogue of what it was like to grow up with the braces and just ways in which you had to kind of make your own way. So everybody stay with us. We're talking today about, competing with others, but finding a way to walk your own line and being original and find your way to living full out. So I am Nancy Solari. It's the Living Full Out Show. Stay with us. We'll be coming right back out of this break with Abby Curran. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we are joined by Abby Curran, who, honestly, what an inspirational story. Having cerebral palsy and CP, and yet not letting her hold that back in terms of her ability to go after her dreams. And today we're talking about competing with others. Well, put on your seatbelt because Abby embarked on that too. So I'd like to welcome her back to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Now, Abby, we're talking about competing with others today, and I think that you just tossed yourself in the ring a couple of times. So I know one of your biggest dreams was to become, Miss Fair Queen in your local city. And, you, like any little girl, you want to be a pageant winner. But you also knew that you had your limitations, and, there were a lot of people that invest a lot of time, money, and energy to perfect their craft and go out there and win it. Can you share with us what happened the day that you were competing when, again, Abby made her big appearance?
Oh, goodness. So, I was in high school again, I was the girl that was crawling down the hallway, and it occurred to me that I kind of wanted to try for, the Henry County Fair Queen pageant, which is just, I think a lot of counties have fairs where you eat corn dogs and they show animal livestock stuff, And so I just kind of said, I'm going to do it. And I was blown away when the feedback was negative. Everyone was kind of like, you can't do this. You have a hard time walking. You don't belong there. It just kind of was, a huge shock for me. And so I set out to prove them wrong. And so I entered the Fair Queen pageant. And as I was telling you before, oh my goodness, I guess, it's go big or go home, right? I have this hard time walking. So my gait kind of makes me go side to side a little bit. And I had this beautiful strapless dress on. And I just remember being nervous and thinking about, please, God, don't let me fall. And I get to the end of the runway and I stand up a little taller because, that's my moment. And my strapless dress fell right to my knees and I flashed the entire grandstand. And I, at 16 years old, you're just like, oh my goodness, what just happened to me? And I was so thankful that my escort, who was probably a 15, 16-year-old boy himself, he bent down with me when I went to pick up my dress. And I don't know why he was so kind, but I just remember him grabbing the dress and saying, do not cry, do not cry. And, that was amazing. He held my dress instead of my arm, and I didn't cry, and I actually ended up placing in the top 10 that year.
Wow, that's and thank you for being so brave and sharing that story. And I love that you were like, I'm going to do it, and you wanted to do your best, but top 10 is fantastic. Now, it's interesting, though, because you could have just packaged that away and said, well, that was a great experience, but you decided to up the ante again. So what did you do then?
Right. So, after that, I actually competed in that pageant for 6 more years, so a grand total of 7. I never won Miss Henry County Fair Queen pageant, but surprisingly, that summer I didn't win, but that fall I actually gave it one more shot, signed up for Miss Iowa, which is a whole different ballpark, and I won, which I was looking through photos. I had no photos of winning Miss Iowa because my mom and dad and best friend went, and I just know their jaws dropped, and they were in probably more shock than I was. I think everyone kind of stood frozen, like, did this really happen? And even I was like, there must be another Abby in the pageant. There's no way that they just called me. But yeah, it did. And it was probably one of the most surreal moments of my life. So,
wow. And you know what I love about that story, Abby? I mean, obviously having CP, it's, a disability, and I have RP, my blindness, and that's a disability. But, I love that you went for it, and having experienced your dress dropping during that Miss Fair Queen scenario, there could have been so many reasons for you to not try, and give up and say, I never want to do that again. Where do you think that stamina came from? And do you think that has anything to do with having grown up with CP, kind of all that you endured early on, that it just kind of rolls off of you?
You know what? Maybe people with challenges are just, I don't want to say born, but whenever their challenge happens, they just, all of a sudden get tougher skin. So yeah, the whole pageant dress situation was horrifying, but when I look back at it, I still got to where I wanted to go. I mean, I moved on in the pageant world. I got to the top 10. Nothing happened to me other than there were a lot of faces mouthing, oh my God. Nothing changed. And I, went on to live my life the same as I would. So I don't understand what the big deal is about, being scared that these silly things are going to happen. What if I trip? What if I fall? What if I don't win? Well, what if you don't? Because most of the people judging you are people that are sitting on the couch. They're not people that are next to you going after similar dreams or even in the same competition. It's really easy to judge people or to make fun of people when you're hidden from the spotlight yourself, but it's a whole different ballpark when you're actually on stage in the spotlight, and your heart's pounding, your dress is falling. So I just didn't care about what people thought anymore, and I started doing things in life that I wanted to do, and I did them for me and for how they made me feel instead of worrying about what other people had thought.
I love that. I think that is fantastic and good words of wisdom for us to take all home with us today. But, the thing is as you were competing, you also started to see others who felt discouraged or who were maybe, stereotyped as someone who couldn't compete. And then they start to believe it. I guess I can't compete. Thankfully, all the people who were telling you no, you didn't listen, because then you would have never made it to Miss Iowa. But you at, a young teenager spirit, you went ahead and created your own pageant. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So, in between the Fair Queen pageant and winning Miss Iowa, I found people reached out to me, people from my high school that had maybe severe cerebral palsy or other types of challenges, and just saying like, wow, thank you for doing this. I wanted to do, the pageant, or I wanted to play softball, but my parents said no, people would make fun of me. And so that kind of like got the wheels turning in my head, thinking, why do we care? I completely understand from, their personal aspect that they're scared. And I would assume it doesn't help when their parents are saying like, yeah, we don't want you to get hurt. I get that, we don't want anyone to cry or feel bad. But at the same time, I think there's a lot that one is missing out on, being afraid that they might get hurt. So I started Miss You Can Do It. And, it's basically a Miss America pageant for women with disabilities. But it's not about getting on stage and wearing a dress and going for a crown. It's about everything in between. So, we make our contestants do an opening dance number, and every year I get 1 million messages from moms saying, my daughter's in a wheelchair, she can't dance. That's not the point. When I went to Miss USA, one of the choreographers had told me that Miss USA will be on stage, she will be smiling, and she will be trying her best in that dance number. And so that's what I like to teach these contestants that come to my event. It's that, let's not say we can't. I get that you're in a wheelchair, but let's get out there, let's smile, you can do the arm movements, let's give it your best shot. It's about not giving up before you're even in the game. Like, they do a private interview. Some girls can't speak at all. Correct, but you can walk in there and you can be brave enough to sit in front of a panel of judges and at least smile. And, those are just overcoming a lot of our contestants' biggest fears and doing it by themselves. So,
yeah, I love that. And kudos to you to start that so young, and you're really doing a good service. And the last thing I wanted to ask you, because we literally only have a couple minutes left here, is I know for you, even today, you get an achy knee. You still might have days where you're wobbling or your legs are not as strong. But how do you not go to the place of, oh no, this is it, it's getting worse? Because with disabilities, a lot of times people do fear the future.
Right. You make me laugh. Of course, I do have an achy knee. I learned that I wore out the cartilage on the back of my knee like a, 85-year-old would do. But where I find a lot of hope and strength is, the disability community, what I've seen is a lot of scary things. We assume the worst. And I look to kind of athletes right now. I know a former professional ballerina who said, hey, when I was 25, my knee also hurt. I also wore out the cartilage, but she found alternative ways to get that back. So, yoga, doing different types of stretching, not doing a stair stepper during a cardio workout. So I think we just need to kind of broaden our search or our where we're looking, and definitely look for the positives and see all of the people that are overcoming these challenges instead of assuming this is just one more problem to add to our plate. Maybe this is just one more little obstacle, not a problem.
You know what? I love that. And that is why we do this show, and that is why you're on here as our inspirational guest. Just you've had so many great insights today. So thank you so much for being vulnerable and courageous and everything in between. And Abby, you have a lot of friends here in this community. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And for everybody listening, Abby went out there, she competed against other people, but she didn't lose sight of who she was. What were her special, unique characteristics? And she won Miss Iowa, with CP. Amazing. And so you want to look at your life and evaluate, okay, what are my strengths? What do people say I'm good at? What do I really love doing? What are my passions? Let those be the lead in your life. All the expectations people have for you, all your fears and your worries, push them aside. They have no place in your mind because you can do it. So I want to thank everybody today, because hearing Abby's story reminds us that we have the ability to go out there and do great things. And, know that tough days are still going to come. We'll be coming right back after this break, taking more of your calls. We'll be back.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text.
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. So many comments on my comment. Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Mom, what? Huh? What'd you say?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Thanks for asking, but I'd rather not send you nude pictures. I'm camera shy. I already said no. It's against my religion. I'm giving my dog a bath. You can have pictures of that. Pressure gives me hives. Under my clothes, I'm a robot. Hold on, let me ask my mom. Sorry, my webcam is broken. I'm worried they'll get passed around school. Unfortunately, I just had my clothes surgically attached to my body. If they got out, I might never be president. I'm already naked, under my clothes. Not even if you were all three Jonas Brothers. I have a rash. I have nudophobia. I have lizard skin. The more you ask, the less I want to. You're not the boss of me. Nudity makes me vomit. I'm a vampire, so I don't show up in pictures anyways. Your badgering has really killed the mood.
When someone is pressuring you to do something you don't want to, how many ways can you say no before they get the message? Let us know at that'snotcool.com. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearms storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a cold
I want to
day.
Be a football
I want to
stadium.
be a bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When we consider competing with others, we want to look at it not as competition, but rather a reason for us to thrive, to really go after our dream in a bigger way. Think of how you can strengthen your skills, become stronger, become more focused. That's when competition is healthy.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we've been talking about competing with others. And when I think of this topic, it's just so interesting. There's been little gifts that I've been given along the way of going legally blind. And one of them is that I just don't see competition. It's just the funniest thing. I mean, I know it's there. I clearly know that there's beautiful people that walk among me in my local area. And I'm sure they might be, younger or maybe, better clothes or whatever. I don't know. I don't see it. And it's interesting. I don't see competition in my career either. And so it's actually been a blessing with losing my vision that it's helped me to just stay really focused and just, internally just give every day the best that I can. And I share that with you because, in your own way, you want to put the blinders on a little bit, right? You want to shut out the competition and let the passion, the feeling in your body guide you to where you want to go. So what is that dream that you have? For our last guest, Abby, it was becoming, Miss Iowa. And she had to figure out some way to get there and navigate her way to being the best she could, knowing that funny moments were going to come. And for you, you also want to figure out, what does that look like? What support might you need? I definitely don't go through my entire life, doing everything that I do without others. And I mean that from, the person who might hold my arm if they're guiding me somewhere, or even, low vision aids that I use that help me to hear things or, read things, with an audio program. So sometimes when I talk about support, it doesn't have to be people support. If you are humble and you're like, no, I can do it myself, that's fine. Look for other resources, apps on your phone, different ways in which you can be supported. When you have that support, now you kind of have that little superpower, right? So when you're looking at the competition in your world. Now, I say your world because it might be going after a career you want, or it might be dating, or it might be that you're in a club and it's competitive, whether it be physically or socially. And you just want to be able to figure out, how do I stand out of the crowd, and how am I different? How am I unique? And again, I've had to do that as well. When I'm out at a networking function, I mean, pretty much I can't see anybody's faces. And even when I get to the moment where someone goes and to shake my hand and they put their hand out there, I don't see their hand. So here they are with their hand extended, and I'm as happy as could be, cordial, saying hi, and they're confused as to why is she not shaking my hand. They might not know right away that I'm legally blind. I bring that story up because we can't always judge another book by its cover, right? So when you're considering all this competition that's out there, you want to think about the people that you think you're competing with. They're going to have their own stresses, their own anxieties. You might look at them and think, oh, they have it all together, or it must have come, genetics, it must come easy for them. And maybe it physically does come easy for them. But I'm sure there's going to be other areas in their life where they have insecurities. So what I always suggest is, as an icebreaker, rather than trying to look good and say all the right things, try to go a little bit deeper. Try to ask somebody, not just how was your day, but, what was a winning moment for you today? Or, can I help you with something? Can I support you in some way rather than a me, what's in it for me? So look at competition not as a barrier, not as this big giant mountain that you have to climb, but look at it as a way for you to thrive, for you to get excited, to take yourself up to the next level. Now, we at Living Full Out, we are right beside you every step of the moment, making sure that you are living your life full out. We want to make sure that you reach out to us. If you have an inspirational story that you'd like to share, go to connect@livingfullout.com. Just like Abby, we'd love to have you on the show. And you could share with our community how you have managed, how you've coped and got through the hardships in your life. Or if you're dealing with competing with other people and you want that to not be a barrier for you anymore, reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Let us give you the resources that you need to really focus and be vibrant and excited with what you're doing. Most of all, just know that I believe in you. The entire Living Full Out family is here and dedicated to you living your life full out. Go to livingfullout.com to hear this show and all of our episodes. And also, if you want, go to the App Store or if you have Alexa and just look for Living Full Out Radio. We are all here dedicated to keeping you on track, focused, and living your life full out. Rich, Aaron, John, Riley, Shakira, the entire Living Full Out family wants to thank you for listening today and reach out to us if you need us. We're right there beside you every step of the way. Until then, here's to you living your life full out. See you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.